Hi, it's FaSho Mayn. This is Bud Knows News.
DBFM Entertainment. DBFM Entertainment. Your brain is FaSho Mayn. Your brain is FaSho Mayn. DBFM Entertainment.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Bud Knows News on the DBFM Entertainment channel. This week, we have had our notes supplied by my good friend Donnie. You can call him Debo, or if you're a nice female, you can call him Big D. But point being,
DBFM franchise on the rise, you know what I mean?
we stay busy. You know what I'm saying? Like right now I'm working. You know what I'm saying? But I had to take a moment to let you guys know this new information I had come across, provided from my good friend Debo. So anyway, we stay busy, things stay growing. I just appreciate the support from everybody who's involved. Stay tuned. So first, this is out in Utah. Senate bill wants to sponsor less red tape for marijuana research. Or in other words, it's a bill proposed by Senator Orrin Hatch, which is aiming to lessen the barriers for medicinal marijuana studies. The bill simply states that we need to remove the administrative barriers preventing legitimate research into medical marijuana. So they're not doing the actual research. They're not sponsoring a specific research study. They're just saying, look, we need to let them research it. So this bill is hoping to evaluate the effectiveness, safety, dosing, administration, and quality of marijuana research in hopes to find an alternative for treating chronic pain as a less addictive alternative to opioids. Now, the opioid epidemic is a big deal. A lot of people are impacted by it. Trump has recently taken action towards it. And cannabis is a surefire solution that we should all aim towards. Now, marijuana was criminalized 80 years ago by the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937, but today it's tightly regulated by the National Institute on Drug Abuse, which has a contract with the University of Mississippi to grow marijuana for federally sanctioned studies, as I said. And this senator has saying that if this was passed, it would meet the changing medical, scientific, and industrial needs for marijuana. Now, this bill talks about medical cannabis, but there's also huge amounts of potential for hemp. So, get up into hemp as well, Utah. Even the NFL has proposed a medical marijuana study to its players as a pain management. This is particularly surprising due to the league's strict anti-marijuana policies in which it suspends multiple players a year due to the use of marijuana. And although 29 states have the drug legalized for medical use, federally it is still classified as a Schedule I drug with no medicinal properties. It's a joke. So Utah, just another state trying to get involved, trying to support, give good research. Because although Colorado and plenty of other states, Europe, have a lot of research, the United States government doesn't recognize it because it comes from illegal sources, which is a joke. Next, the topic of dabbing. Real quick, for anyone who doesn't know, dabbing is the use of cannabis concentrates. You strip the chemicals from the plant matter, concentrate it into its natural oil substance, and based upon how you agitate it as it dries, it creates a shatter or a butter or a butane hash oil or more of a sugary like crumble like texture. It's like sugar. When you make sugar candy, depending on how you let it cool, if you just let it cool on a pan, it's going to be shatter. If you stir it up as it cool, it's going to be more like taffy. So dabbing is just a term for taking a small amount of this and vaporizing it to get hot. Now, researchers say that the practice of dabbing could produce cancer-causing chemicals. Often the creation of these concentrates are extracted using a butane chemical, which in turn create a butane hash oil. And users like this product because it has a stronger, cleaner high. They also say it's easier on the lungs than smoking. However, since this trend is so new, there is no clinical or scientific data on BHO consumption. Traditional hash has been around forever. From India, you take fine parts of the plants, more so keef, compress it, bake it at a low temperature so it decarboxylates within itself, becomes extremely potent, gooey, brown sugar-like substance, and that's traditional hash. But this is butane hash, oil, and things of the nature. Now, Portland State University has identified that dabbing vapor contains known carcinogen substances, including methacrylene and benzene. Benzene's a bad one. Specifically, scientists found terpenes, which is a class of organic compounds of marijuana, are resulting to carcinogens when smoked due to wrong vaping temperatures. Terpenes only occur in plant resins and are responsible for their variety of aromas and fragrances. However, when combined with the cannabis concentration formula in dabbing, they can, in combination, produce the two carcinogenic toxins. This is interesting. Terpenes are natural in many substances. Pine needles, lavender, lemon, things of the nature. Now, there's a difference between the chemical composition of smoking versus vaping. Smoking actually contains cellulose and other carbon compounds that you won't find in concentrates from the plant matter, which allows some people to come to the conclusion that smoking is a greater hazard than vaping. But there brings the argument that vaporizing occurs at a lower temperature than combustion, which releases fewer toxins or carcinogenic effects. This is making it sound as the process of vaporization is the key factor. How many dabbers appropriately know the correct temperature to vaporize their concentrate and not burn the BHO? Not many. And a lot of people don't really care. They just want to get high. And I don't blame them. Uncontrolled heating can result in the temperature of the nail being well above the recommended range. The recommended ranges are actually 570 to 660 Fahrenheit. Controlling the temperature is crucial to limit your exposure to carcinogens. You can get an electronic nail that'll maintain and regulate the heat, but don't burn the wax itself, because it's when you burn something you get the carcinogenic results. Vaporizing is simply boiling. It doesn't produce those carcinogens. Now, Australia has something called the Hemp Olympics. It is Australia's largest cannabis gathering, the Hemp Olympics, which brings all walks of life from every direction to a small hinterland town. One of the main events and most popular, Chuck-a-bong, requires you to yell anything while chucking a highly constructed sports bong as far as you can. The current champion, known as Gary the Plumber, holds the current record for 41 meters. Another event called the Grower's Iron requires the showcase of their fitness through an obstacle course. Contestants must complete 3 rounds of the course, one holding fertilizer, one with water, and one freehand, so you can get your stash and bring it back. This course makes and breaks champions. Tug of Peace was founded 4 years ago, and although cannabis remains illegal in Australia, the relationship between festival goers and the attending police has been restored through sport. On one end we have the polite squad, and on the other end we have the actual police squad. The rules are simple. The polite squad can't smoke a joint no matter how stressful it gets, and the police can't use their guns. It's nice to integrate sport and play into cannabis. It gets kind of serious. Which brings us to our next topic. Cannabis is at the head of its class. Academia has started to open studies to better understand the acceptance of marijuana in our modern society. They are working with the industry movers and shakers to expand what we know and fill the gaps of what we don't. After the DEA allowed for more research to be done on both researchers and private companies, however, they still did not change the classification of the drug. University of Mississippi is the only place they can get it, as we've said before, and it's garbage. So this new university has popped up in the mix, providing assistance for the current effort. Now, the University of San Diego, which is also the Center for Medicinal Cannabis Research. Now, the new research mainly covers the topics of medical safety as well as the efficacy of the drug and its products. One of the active studies includes stone driving. The main focus is the detection of driving under the influence of cannabis. Healthy volunteers will inhale smoked cannabis with either 0%, 6.7, or 12.6% of the levels at the beginning of the day and then complete driving situations. As I've said before, I think it's good to drive stoned. I'm not recommending it. Do not go do it. But as a subjective matter, I think driving while high is a little better, a little more cautious.
Word.
Information gathered by an iPad-based application which gauges and assesses bodily fluids before and after every hour, blood, saliva, and breath. Even the world-renowned Oxford University in England is getting on the ground floor with a new partnership with Kingsley Capital Partners, who provide $12.36 million to be funneled into research. These people are researching, y'all. But enough of the medical research. University of Colorado is also doing research on the infrastructure development for growth facilities. Rutgers University is working on infrastructure planning and public policy. And a newly saturated market is going to be opened up for many chances for new technologies on groundbreaking discoveries within the research of the drug. So, this is big. Universities are getting into it. The respected establishment of a university across many states. Many universities within many different states are getting on board and doing research themselves. And regardless of whether the feds are going to accept it, it's still true. It's still published research and data. And I greatly appreciate this. And keep it moving, universities. Let's bring it all together. You found out here on Bud Notes News. Now, last couple topics. Talking about why doctors don't really know much about cannabis. You go to your doctor, you hear all these great researchers. These universities are taking all this time and money to put this information together. And your doctor doesn't know about it. I know more from looking on Google and watching Bud Notes News than my doctor knows. Yeah. Anxiety, stress, migraines, insomnia, chronic pain, and even opioid dependence. They're all conditions treatable with cannabis. Attitude towards cannabis and the people who consume them are improving, but there's still a stigma that goes along with it. It's classified as a Schedule 1, and for this reason, physicians don't have any formal training on the plant's medicinal uses. 85% of med students admitted that they've never received any information on cannabis, whether it was medicinal or recreational. Only 9% of medicinal schools even touch on the subject. 9% of schools touch on cannabis when it can cure anxiety, stress, migraines, insomnia, and chronic pain, opioid dependence, PTSD, seizures, and many others. Now, there has been more than 8,000 studies worldwide that show the efficacy of cannabis for treating a wide variety of medical purposes. This article says there's more than 8,000. I know for a fact there's more than 100,000. There's unbelievable amounts of research and data showing this cannabis is an incredible thing. It goes back 10,000 years, I'm sorry. Doctors should know more about cannabis. They should understand how it affects the body as a plant, as a chemical, not as a drug. Now, that's all we got for today. I is FaSho Mayn. Thanks for tuning in. Hit up Australia. Go hit the Weed Olympics. go over to Utah, support the bill to get more research done, and then stop in Colorado to say thanks for the research that y'all did and I'll do it. So, cannabis is coming up. I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm glad you tuned in. Subscribe to the channel. Watch some more videos. Check out the brain. Check out the little studio clip we just put up. Shit's popping. So, thanks for tuning in. I is FaSho Mayn. This is Bud Notes News. See you next time, y'all. Chook shit. I like Australia.